Alright, I have a confession to make. I have been lying to you all for a very long time. I'm not talking about scamming you or giving you wrong info. I am talking about how me and so many other creators I know are showcasing you not their real but an alternate personality. In fact, so many celebrities have used this exact same technique to overcome their fears and insecurities. Eminem has Slim Shady, Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, there's Miley Cyrus, Madonna, the list wouldn't end. And to be honest, I am guilty of using this technique as well. So in today's video, I will be sharing my experience of how I overcame my fears, limiting beliefs and insecurities by not changing my real personality but by building an alternate personality that I regularly use for my content creation and live workshops. I'm not an expert in psychology, so I will be oversimplifying and will be using really basic terms because everything I share will come from my personal experience and not from a textbook. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Now, before I share you how this technique works, there are three things you need to be very mindful about. Number one, it took me 3 years of consistent effort to actually implement this technique. Now, of course, you'll be like, 3 years? Like, would I have to wait 3 years after watching this video? Not really, but I personally feel that a huge shift, like I can see a massive shift now that I've spent the past 2 to 3 years using this technique of building an alternate personality. Number two, I am still a work in progress even after 2 to 3 years, which basically means that even though I have built an alternate personality, with months passing by, my goals are changing, my aspirations are changing. So when I was say 20 years old, I had a certain vision of who I should be at the age of 24, 25. And now that has become very different. Right now I want to become a person who does completely different things. So even my alternate personality has now evolved with time. So I'm always changing and I'm still a work of progress. And number three, this video is going to be the start and not the end. Which means that once I have introduced you to this concept of building an alternate personality, this is where you will have to start your learning. It's not like, oh, I saw this video, now I really know how to build an alternate personality and I'm sorted and now I know everything that it takes. Now, to build an alternate personality, there are 6 key factors that you need to work on. Number one, you need to start reading and consuming all kinds of content that is written or spoken by your idols. For example, when I was in school, I really used to look up to Spider-Man and Harvey Specter, and there were a lot of celebrities that I really looked up to. Even a lot of cricketers, right? Whether it's Virat Kohli or Cristiano Ronaldo, I used to be really inspired by them. Even if I wasn't playing the sport, I was just very impressed by the way they spoke, by the way they thought, all of their quotes and interviews. In fact, there's this one show called Entourage, and there's a character in that, Ari Gold. I was really impressed by some of the things that Ari Gold used to pull off in that show. And then I used to keep asking myself as to what would I do if I were there, right? And then I would always see what would Harvey Specter would do. And when it comes to real life personalities, I used to watch interviews, listen to all of their podcasts, listen to all of the content that they ever had on themselves. So even in the show Suits, there's this thing where the second character, Mike, has this framework called What Would Harvey Do? Which basically means that if the alpha, Harvey Specter, is not present around you, you still need to ask yourself, fine, if Harvey isn't there, that's completely okay. But what would Harvey do? And once you think in that way, what would Harvey do? You realize that that is a completely separate set of mind. You pick one idol that you've consumed the most categorical content on, and you need to ask yourself as to what would Harvey do, or what would Messi do, or what would Ronaldo do, or what would Virat Kohli do, or how would they behave in this circumstance. So the third step is to actually document how your heroes behave, how do they carry themselves, what do they wear, what do they eat. Now, anytime I talk about documentation, a lot of students come to me and say that Ansha, notes also look very boring, right? It's basically just text. And you know how bullish I am about documenting your learnings. Now, if you feel like note taking is very boring or difficult, I am going to talk to you about an AI tool that can not only help you write better notes, but also make your notes way more lively. So you can go from a really basic looking page to something that looks as good as this. That too by taking help from AI. To make note taking easy, let me introduce you to Napkin AI, who are also the sponsors of this video. With Napkin AI, you can organize your notes from school, college or YouTube, add video recordings explaining your notes, have AI draw illustrations to make your notes come to life, and share your digital notes with friends and teammates. Alright, so this is the tool. Super clean interface. I have just created a document here just to show you how your notes can look like. Now, when you sign up to this platform, you will have an option to create a new napkin. Now, the fun part here is that if I were to write top techniques, I can select all of it, and then they have a couple of different formatting options. Now, the interesting part here is that if I write memory boosters, and let's just say that I want some cool illustration out of it, I can click on this flash icon right here. And the crazy part is that now AI will come up with an illustration or a flowchart to support this. Now, if I click on this blue arrow right here, it will give me an illustration. If I again click on it, it will give me more and more ideas that will sort of brainstorm with my concept. You can access that free trial by going to the link in my description. Coming back to building the alternate personality, we discussed that you first have to figure out who are your idols and need to consume their content. Second, you need to practice asking yourself what would your hero do if he or she was in this situation. Third, once you start practicing the mental models, then you need to start noting down smaller aspects of their personality. Now, once you've done these 3 steps, step number 4 is about practicing this in real life situations, which means that if you go to an offline event or to a club or to a party, first of all, always go alone. Please get rid of this habit where you have a friend tagging along with you, because I'll tell you what happens. If you go with your parents, if you go with your friends, if you go with people who already know you by default, your brain will try really hard to behave exactly in the same way your friends and family expect you to behave. However, if you go to an offline event absolutely alone, then you have a fresh new slate. Your brain or your personality is not under the pressure of playing the same personality again, which means because nobody knows how you are and how you behave, you can act in any way you want and your brain will be way more comfortable. Otherwise, if you bring your best friend, you yourself will feel very conflicted that should I behave how I usually behave or should I have a new personality? Even if you show a new personality, your best friend is just going to pull you down saying that what has happened to you? That is why you would always see me hanging around alone everywhere. I go to all clubs alone. I go to all events alone. Even if somebody says I want to come with you, I'm like, no, I actually prefer going alone because I meet new people. I can hop between groups very easily. I don't have to wait for somebody else. Like just going to places alone and just playing a new role or maybe just meeting new people individually gives you a lot of freedom. Now, there is one very cool hack that I regularly use anytime I'm going to a completely new place and I'm really scared. I would simply sit in my car, like if I'm on my way to the event, I would simply watch a really good stand-up comedy video. Probably either by Bussy, a great YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure all of you know him by default. Or it could be something by Biswa, or there's also this Gaurav, a very funny guy, right? Or I would just watch like funny reels from my friends. So there's Anmol Babbar, there's Chetan Goyal. So all of these people, they make such funny content. So I would just spend 10 minutes just watching funny content and it would really lighten me up. It would have me in the zone where I'm just naturally smiling. I feel more confident. I don't listen to music. Sometimes I do, but in most cases, I'm now sticking to stand-up comedy. Trust me when I say this, if you're going to an event alone, if you step out after watching stand-up comedy, the way your brain changes, the way you are relaxed, it's a completely different game changer. Point number 5 is not about building new things in your personality, but now understanding why do you behave in a specific way? Like why exactly do you behave as a shy person or as an introverted person? Because I'll tell you something very interesting. I actually sat down and I used to meditate on why do I behave in a certain way. And in majority of the cases, it's probably influenced by your childhood upbringing or how your parents actually pitched you in front of your relatives or other friends. I'm going to share a real life example. I mean, it's from my own life's example, so it is pretty real. So when I was a very small kid, anytime I used to go to a shadi or some function, I used to be super shy because I'm a single child. So I'm not very well versed with being outspoken, right? So I was a pretty shy kid. And I am very shy in real life as well, by the way, folks. So the Ansh Mehra that you see on camera, this is a personality that I've built. I switch into this personality as soon as the camera is on, but as soon as the camera is off, I go back to my normal Ansh Mehra's personality. Coming back to the story, होता ये था कि if my parents and I go to an event and I was like super small and short, if an uncle would come to me and say that, hi Ansh, I would be like, hi, namaste uncle, like in a very shy tone. And my dad or my mom would say कि ये थोड़ा भोला है, थोड़ी बातें कम करता है, या थोड़ा चुप चुप रहता है, या इसको ज़्यादा नीड नहीं है, या ये ज़्यादा बोलता नहीं है. And because my parents are saying something, I would just agree to it, right? And what happened is that there was a point where I used to just align by the personality traits that they thought were natural to me. So abhi bhi, even at this age, when I go to a family function with my parents, I still play that role. I still play that shy kid's role. For some reason, I just can't speak because I always conform to the personality that my parents had sort of given me when they were introducing me to somebody else. So for example, if a parent regularly introduces their child saying कि ये तो बड़ा शैतान है या ये तो बड़ा बदतमीज है, so that kid would always play बदतमीज in front of their parents just to conform to the tags that they've been given as a child, right? So there are a lot of tags that you are carrying with yourself, and it is not your parents' fault. Like, trust me when I say this, it is absolutely not your parents' fault. You need to meditate on why do you have certain personality traits, because when it comes to personality or beliefs, it usually is influenced by our family and our upbringing. Like, I literally sat down one day and I made a list of characteristics that I found very peculiar in my dad and my mom, and I realized that I had inherited a lot of them because I saw them so often that I was picking those habits. Right? So we don't only inherit genetics or body languages or face or nose or hair, we also inherit a lot of beliefs, right? Just mentally. On number 6, it's just a cautionary tip that even though you would be practicing this role, right? Like, I have a different role for the camera, I have a different role for my parents, I have a different role for my friends. I am always aware of who I am when I'm all alone, right? Because what happens is that I personally know some creators, of course I can't really like reveal their names, but they are so different on camera and they are so different in real life, and in most cases they're very disappointing in real life because they're just so battamiz in real life, right? On the other hand, there are some creators who you might assume that they would be so rude in real life because on camera they act like maniacs, but in real life they are so sober. Like, they are so shant and so dignified and so smart and so professional. And I wish I could reveal the names. I unfortunately cannot. Don't want to get into any kind of trouble. But I'm just telling you that there are some people who just forget. So what happens is that you play a role so often that even if the camera is off, you can't leave the role. Which means that on camera, if you try to behave in a specific way, when the camera is off, you need to behave normally with the normal people. But a lot of people forget to behave normally, right? So please make sure that you never forget who you are and where you've come from and who you really are while you hop from these roles. Because sometimes the roles can over-empower your real personality. Now, I wanted to share this fact that apart from the normal UX and AI content that we make, we regularly keep making videos for this playlist that I have called Improve Your Life. I would strongly recommend you to check out that Improve Your Life wala playlist. There are 2 live streams that I did. One was Basic Dhruv and Amir Arjun ki kahani. It's a very underrated video, but I personally feel that it is one of the most powerful stories that I have ever narrated. One of the most important stories that I wish students would hear. It's a 2-hour long story, but I'm pretty sure it'll give you a lot of things to think about. And I also had a podcast called Take It Easy, which very few people know about. It's on Spotify. So many episodes have been uploaded, but very few people know about it. So if you're trying to improve your personality, and if you want to like build an alternate personality and go through this part, of course you can do your own research after this video, but the Improve Your Life playlist and my Take It Easy podcast are 2 really solid resources that can help you get started. Let me know in the comment section if you want similar content like this. Let me know if there are any other things that hold you back. I would love to discuss them in our upcoming videos. If you're here for the first time, make sure you click on subscribe and hit the bell icon because we regularly make videos on UX design, AI and upskilling. With that being said, I hope that you're taking care of your mind and body. This is your dost Ansh Mehra signing out. Don't forget to check out Napkin AI and document your learnings from this video. You can create some really good looking unique documents, learn faster and organize your thoughts using Napkin AI. You'll find the link in description. If you like this video, make sure you click on like and hit the subscribe button. I regularly upload videos on UX design, marketing and storytelling.